Good Saturday evening. Welcome to another edition of the Sideline Junkie Saturday Night Wrestlemaniacs. And there's the People's Choice Don Rodriguez.
That was my Bill Cosby right there.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Coming in like Bill Cosby.
What is up, brother? What is up?
I'm the big guy, KG. Nothing much, man. I'm
just
here. Yeah, and I got my show. I'm finally on location this Saturday. Been an eventful day. If you have not checked it out already, go check out the Facebook page and the Instagram page with all the pictures from the happenings of today. Been handling Sideline Junkie business for the last 6 days. I am exhausted. A lot of handshake deals and things trying to move us forward to get us on a even bigger distribution deal. I mean, the distribution deal down we have is big. I'm trying to make it even bigger. So I'm out here rubbing elbows and trying to get it so you see these faces on TV. So
make sure you lotion some kneecaps.
Lotion kneecaps, elbows. I'm trying to do it all right about now.
Well, it's been a minute. It seemed like it's been a long time.
Shouldn't have left you without a dope beat to step to. Oh.
That's all right. I was going there. So
little Eric being Rakim.
You know it. A lot's happened. So I think we should go ahead and talk about the MJF in the room. It just feels right. Last we left, MJF was doing a program with Wardlow. Good program, good business. Set up Wardlow to become all elite and to be put over clean, which MJF did a good job. But there's a little bit of controversy, and I want to get your opinion because some people believe this is a shoot. Some people believe this is a work, and or it could be a combination of the two. So what I mean by that is we all know that on the June 1st edition of Dynamite, MJF delivered his own CM Punk-esque pipe bomb, which so happened to correlate with all the TNT executive heads being in attendance because it was right after the pay-per-view, and he kind of went off. Where I think it's a work is because if you had a guy that no-showed a fan event, which MJF did, which caused controversy and people wondering whether or not MJF was going to show, is there a plane ticket, did he purchase it, is he flying? What's going to happen? He did show up, obviously, and put Wardlow over. But if you had somebody do that, why would you open the show with somebody that volatile with present company attending? Now, after the pay-per-view, it was said that MJF and Tony Khan were going to have a conversation. MJF could have placated and then set himself up to be able to, do the promo, but didn't know it was going to go south. So south that he called Tony Khan an effing mark, told him he should be out there in the fans instead of in the back. I mean, he pretty much pulled a CM Punk to the point, which is ironic, that CM Punk, once they went to commercial, ran him away. Yeah. So my question to you, and that's everything in a nutshell, I encourage you to go watch the YouTubes and all that stuff to get the full ensemble of everything MJF had to say. It was about 10 minutes worth of angst and anger and promo, and he worked the fans. That's the other reason why I think it was a work. He worked the fans. They were booing him, and next thing you know, they're cheering him. Worked the fans and took his claim for being the number one emotional draw on AEW Dynamite. Because I know some people argue Jericho, and they'll argue other superstars or wrestlers like Mox and Daniel Bryan and stuff like that. But MJF really told the truth. Nobody commands that much emotion upon his entrance music and the fact that you see him with a microphone than MJF. So my question to you, work, shoot?
I think it's a work. Not even gonna lie to you. I'm saying a work because what you have going on with Sasha and God, I want to call her by her government name, Naomi.
You gonna call her Trend?
Yeah,
Trend.
I always find myself getting ready to call her by her government name, but can't do that. That's not who we're talking about.
Only one of you can do that.
But with everything that's going on with them, I think this is just like, let's use this type of heat and let's put ourselves over with this. And I think that's what it is. I think it's a work.
Yeah, I felt that. I was thinking that same kind of spin. But if we're going to play devil's advocate, let's say it's a shoot. And MJF is trying his hardest to get released because we all know he's been saying 2024, WWE comes a knocking. I may go with signing if the amount is right. So just seeing how things are in the WWE, they need somebody else other than Roman Reigns. Period. Especially now that Cody wrestled probably the match of his life and he's on the shelf for which reported now 9 months. They need somebody because there's nobody there that commands that much emotional attachment in the WWE. Nobody on Raw, NXT, or SmackDown. I can't think of any one person that when they get on the microphone, I'm like just drawn in, other than Roman and the Bloodline storyline. So they need them. They may want to pay a lot. It's almost like the cell phone thing. We'll buy you out of your contract if you come over here with us and give you a free phone. So if he's trying to do that, Tony's got two options. He can say, fine, go, see if the grass is green on the other side, which Jericho has stated via Twitter that it's not. Or he could become the McMahon and say, because they've already pulled his MJF's all the graphics and everything. He's not on anything. They've pulled him off the website. They've taken his merch off the store. So Tony could say, fine, let's go ahead and pull the NFL deal since I'm an NFL guy. And we're just going to pay you to sit on the bench for 2 more years and ride out your contract just to be a dick, to pay you back. So, I mean, I don't know. Do you think Tony Khan is going to, if it is a shoot, that he's going to just go ahead and cut the losses and say whatever?
No. If it's a shoot, when you get something unexpected like this, what do? Especially if you're a businessman, you're going to take something like this.
We already know the quote.
Controversy creates cash. You take that, you spin it in your favor, and you make it work.
Mm-hmm.
You take something bad and you turn it into something bad, but it's good. It's possible.
Do you give him the mic again?
Yes.
Because technically, this could convert him into the new Stone Cold. I doubt Tony Khan will wrestle. Could that be? No.
No, but you see where it's going, though.
There's a parallel.
You see where the possibility is.
There's a parallel, yeah. Tony Khan could be an on-air figure, which he will live his dream. People would actually, they're missing the Attitude Era. So to have a Mr. McMahon versus a homegrown Steve Austin-esque type of character, and a dispute is not about, respect. It's about money. So we're not going to get the beer trucks and all that stuff. We may get some run-ins. We may get some show interaction. We may get him taking the microphone off of Tony Schiavone and pushing him out the way and jumping on commentary. We may have him ringing a ring bell at the wrong times or playing with the lighting, do what Randy Orton did in the truck and, just mess up the show. Almost to the level of Nexus without ripping up the ring. I think that'd be entertaining.
Yes.
It would put some spice into AEW.
And guess what? This is a copycat league. If it worked for one, it's going to work for the other.
Isn't that wrestling now? The Lord knows how many WOs do we have? How many people and different federations drop in 2 sweets?
It's a copycat league.
We've even seen YouTube videos of Michael Jackson doing a moonwalk into a DDT. I mean,
which was absolutely positively like that.
So I mean, it's it's possible. So this could be a win-win loss type of situation. And truthfully, in my opinion, it all hinges on Tony Khan. And if he can see, and we'll talk about the next opinion at the end of the show about Tony Khan, but it all depends on what he sees and if he's got the right goggles. Now, if this was Dusty, oh man, Daddy, we gonna put a little bit of spit on that shine and go ahead and put it out there. I'm telling you, it'd be phenomenal.
And it's great you bring up Dusty because today marks 7 years.
Yeah. And you know, every day the entire wrestling world misses him. Every day.
And I'm not a former wrestler, anything like that. I never trained under Dusty, never shared the squared circle with him, but always was one of my favorites. Always will be one of my favorites. I actually, when my youngest granddaughter was a little fussy when she was younger, I would play the Hard Times promo, quiet it right down. Now I play it and she just stare off. She just like, yeah, I know where this comes from. Teach them early.
That's right.
Greatest promo ever.
Speaking of teaching early, that's a bad segue. Doesn't really mean anything. But my boo, we talked about this. Stephanie McMahon stepping down. This has also got a little controversial because the original speculation was that it was family issue, and we talked about that. Wondered if it was because of Triple H and such. Then the scuttlebutt started going out, which I don't understand. The original thing was that it was Vince McMahon's call, was also said, and that's been kind of debunked a little bit. From there, there was word that they were starting to kind of dog Stephanie as she was, on her way out and transitioning out, just saying how bad she has been, which is kind of weird, considering if you follow WWE on Twitter and Stephanie, every time you turn around, she's getting another award for doing something. So to me, that's great PR. So if you got somebody pulling great PR, especially when the wrestling community as a whole is clamoring for women empowerment, period, and some of those accolades that she got was for women empowerment, you now have her leaving. She's getting dogged out in reference to stories and they're saying bad things about her. You would think Dad'd be like, hey, shut the hell up. But no, that didn't get kiboshed. Now it's starting to kind of speculate and surface that this is because of the lawsuit with MLW and how allegedly Stephanie McMahon had a hand in Fox not joining or honoring the contract with MLW and Tubi. So this lawsuit could come into play, to which Stephanie, I believe, is said reportedly to be on the board of Tubi, and there's some conflict of interest things happening in this lawsuit. So it's a couple different things. It's like every time we turn around, it's a different side of the coin that's being flipped up and down, and it's no official statement, and nobody said anything yet. But I still think her stepping down is bad. Bad for her image. There's only one McMahon in charge, and they've already replaced her. Wasn't with a woman, I can tell you that much. So we lost that, and now where do we go? Because Trips is, kind of just flying by night right now. We don't know what Triple H is doing. So you tell me, is it good to not have Stephanie in the WWE right now?
No. It's not good. I'm going to put it to you this way. She is needed because, think about when we first seen her on screen and how she's evolved into this character on screen. Now, you don't see her very much on screen, but she's needed because when she was running things, at least it was watchable. And WWE is not always watchable these days.
Yeah, her versus Paul Heyman, SmackDown versus Raw was, rather entertaining, even though Paul was still putting that work in on the SmackDown side of things. But
exactly. Then you got her and Triple H is the authority. It's like so much that she's contributed over the years, even these last 5 years, so much she's contributed. Now we're talking about she's gone, and you WWE has a habit of
with is Shane,
which would have been okay, but see, they didn't like the way Shane wrote. We found that out at Royal Rumble
because
when Shane had something written.
The game if he's going to do it, he's going to do it this way.
But he had things written that would have made Royal Rumble way better than what it was.
Potentially.
And these knucklehead chicken pecking writers, oh no, we're not going to do that. We're not going to do that. We're not going to do, man, fuck you. This is Shane McMahon we talking about. Like I would have been more excited to see him go over than a lot of other stuff that happened at Royal Rumble. I would have walked away from it too.
Yeah, that's where I get mad at Vince, because truthfully, how it should be ran is like Young and the Restless and Newman Enterprises. First of all, ain't nobody gonna tell Victor Newman anything. Hey, and when Nick came out there and started saying something, you're not gonna tell Nick anything. Victor's gonna back up Nick unless he's doing something way crazy. And if Victoria tell you to do something, Victor's gonna back up Victoria unless she's doing something way crazy, business wise. Now Jack Abbott may throw some things out there and mess up, that's a whole different story right there. But just in a business standpoint, what?
Number one, you just showed your age.
Hey man, Eric Braden, that's my boy right there.
Number two, when I was about 4 years old, my godmother asked me, what did I want to be when I grew up? And I told her I wanted to be Victor Newman.
Yeah, man.
She said, why would you want to be Victor Newman? I said, he's the most powerful man on TV. Why wouldn't I want to be powerful like him?
Yeah.
But then she asked me, she said, oh, you got to pick somebody else. And the second person I picked, I didn't know. I was young. Told her I wanted to be Rayful Edmonds. She said, why would you want to be him? I mean, I want to be able to have enough money that I can give back to the neighborhood. I didn't know how he made his money. I was 4. All I cared about was buying old ladies heating oil and air conditioners, buying the ice cream truck for kids. That's all I cared about. So,
well, at least you didn't say the mayor for life.
I wouldn't have mind being him neither. Because hell, if he was still living, DC wouldn't be. You know what? Don't even get me started on that. Yeah. Don't get me started on that, because things would be a lot different if he was still living and he was in office.
Yeah, girl, Marion Barry. Man, you showing your age now.
Hey, greatest mayor of all time.
Shoot, Baltimore, we feel the same thing about Kurt Smoke, but
another great mayor. And big ups to William Donald Schaefer too.
Yeah. But I think
he was in my time. He was a great governor.
The coin of phrase Baltimore, the city that reads, and have him put on the bus, the seats on the bus stops and everything. I'm like, God dang, this dude putting in that work. Baltimore, the city that reads. If only that was true. Yeah, he should have had a guest spot in The Wire. I don't think he did, but he should have. But yeah, Stephanie McMahon not being in WWE in any capacity for optics purposes, not good. One McMahon that you never see, but is running the entire place by hook or by crook, is not good for optics, especially as Vince is trying to juggle Fox and USA, trying to get, internally the best product, the number one superstar. Fox has really pushed for the merging of the championships. They also, if you notice, the bloodline is primarily on one network. So USA is not too happy.
Of course.
So he's got that to worry about.
Here's my thing with that. Why in the world would I let a network run my business?
It's because you cash that check.
I don't give a damn. I may have cashed a check for you to show my product, but you're not going to run my product.
Why are you going to Saudi Arabia in November for Crown Jewel?
Blood money.
That check. Because you cashed that check.
But you're not going to run my business. You're not going to tell me, oh, you should merge the title. What do you know about wrestling? What do you know about the business?
Take it a step further. Why are you allowing a streaming service to censor your material that has been out on DVDs, Blu-rays, your own streaming service? You're allowing Peacock to just neuter the Attitude Era. So kids that are watching the Attitude Era are basically watching AEW. That's as far as we're getting on that.
Guess what? I guarantee you they signed that contract because they seen how much money was going to be paid and with Peacock and Fox and all that, but they didn't read the fine print. This is the fine print right here. You can't have this on our streaming service. You can't have that. You can't do this. Even the pay-per-views are shitty. Like, you're supposed to have overrun of pay-per-views that leaves you on a cliffhanger wanting more, and you like, damn, that's good. But this pay-per-view, it'll start at 6 and it's over by 12.
And it don't come back on immediately. On the WWE Finn location, because they have to censor it and remove stuff for the stuff that went live. So if you want to come home and you miss it and you want to start it over, you can't.
Nope.
And then you got to wait for it to kick back in or just watch it the next day. Network, it was on right away. OG pay-per-view, it's on immediately right away.
And it wasn't nothing cut out either.
Don't get me started on Peacock. Like, yeah.
Moving right along.
Exactly. Moving right along. So this surprised me this week. Normally, I know Kane's a Republican. He's the mayor. Seemed pretty chill. Haven't, had any issues politically with Kane. Until this week. And it's not just me. Throw Jericho in the mix, Lance Storm, Mick Foley. Here's what Glenn Jacobs, because I'm not going to say Kane. Here's what, because I don't know Glenn Jacobs at this point. I know Kane, but it's like Hulk Hogan right now. I don't know this guy. Here's what he tweeted out 4 days ago. Every violent death is a tragedy. That said, the mainstream media would have you to believe that America is the land of gun violence and mass shootings, when in fact, as at Hannah D. Cox points out, our per capita rates of gun deaths are actually lower. It's a little bit much lower than many other countries. Just think about that for a second. Sometimes it's not okay to let your real views out, because now we got a conundrum. Those that was like, hey, Len's cool, he's Kane, da-da-da. Yeah. Lance Storm said, so you're saying all the deaths, including the 19 kids and Uvalde, are not at an acceptable rate or tragedy, and nothing else needs to be done. This is one of those times where you do not say anything in this area. I'm quite sure he's up for re-election, so you got to placate to the people that's going to contribute to your campaign. But your comments ripple throughout a whole different level. Your comments are global and super scale. Some things you keep to yourself or in your place that does not revolve around social media. So I know you said it, so I'm going to allow you to react and tell me what your thoughts are about what Glenn Jacobs said 4 days ago.
It seems like this is the week that people of stature, whether it's Jack Del Rio, defensive coordinator of the Washington Commanders, or it's Glenn Jacobs, WWE superstar, making comments about things and not thinking of what they're typing. You got Twitter thumbs and not thinking about what the hell you're typing. We just lost 19 kids, 2 teachers in Uvalde. We just lost 10 people in Buffalo. There was a mass shooting in Maryland. This stuff is happening back to back to back to back to back. But we don't have mass shootings and things like that. What the fuck are you looking at? What stats are you looking at? Only difference between now and about 20 years ago, it's televised. Remember, mass shootings were talked about after everything was said and done. Now, as it's happening, somebody's talking about it.
No, you take it further back. You were talking about in the past. You know when they made some decisions and really jumped at something? Lee Malvo, the DC sniper. That's when, they was up sniper rifles. Oh my gosh, we need to ban them things. They should nobody should have a sniper rifle.
I'm gonna do you one better. Joy Behar said this, and everybody got on her about this, but I agree with what Joy Behar said. You know how to get gun control in this country? Have a bunch of black people legally arm themselves with these assault rifles.
Oh yeah.
Because if you go back far enough, and I've said this many a time, go look up the Mulford Act and why it came into fruition. Because the Black Panthers of California had armed themselves legally. And Governor Ronald Reagan decided to put in an act to limit their guns, which is supposed to be a quote unquote Second Amendment right. That's how you get gun control in this company, in this country.
It's true.
That's how you do it.
It's sad, but it's true.
If the People's Choice, Don Rodriguez, myself, the Boss BJ, if all the sideline junkies and everybody that we touched that was of color all went out and bought AR-15s at one time, not to do anything. We want to protect our homes.
I just wanted to look at it because I got it off Amazon.
It was on sale.
Amazon, but it's that easy.
Yeah, exactly. It's on sale
in Texas. Everybody just start rolling up to Texas.
And the thing is, we traveling across state lines because we want to go hunting. We got high capacity rounds and magazines and all that. We ain't trying to hurt nobody. We trying to go hunting. We trying to go to the range and test some stuff up at the range. We not trying to hurt people. I guarantee you we'll have gun control.
Oh, of course. They'll be banned so fast.
Because we'll be considered a militia. We'll be considered the T word. Yeah, we getting ready to start. So they're getting ready to plan something.
Insurrectionists. Just like, truthfully, and, we normally don't get political on the show. But, Glenn Jacobs brought it out of us because I was just so surprised that he actually, all the stuff that he could have said all these years that he's been mayor. And there's been a lot in reference to, he had talked about the LGBTQ ... community stuff and when they were talking about what bathroom you should go in and all that. He didn't mention and say any tweet about that or, any of the other crazy stuff that was going on.
Because he knew he would have got canceled.
But this time, oh yeah, me too. None of that. He ain't say nothing.
You know what else he ain't saying nothing about?
Tweeting about that.
He ain't saying nothing about police brutality protests neither.
None of that stuff. But why he at this time had to say something? 4 months from now, maybe. But we're still burying these kids.
You want to know something else I don't think I've ever seen him tweet about? The insurrectionists on January 6th.
Of course not.
And speaking of which, I was flipping through the channels in the hotel room, and it was a news network that was like, these guys they got PTSD. They should be released so they could be with their families. Man, fuck them. You did what you did of your own volition. You decided, hey, I'm going to do this. That's treason. No, you're supposed to be in jail. You're supposed to be under the jail.
Yeah, they're just mad
because they about your PTSD.
It can't be pinned on the darker hue, the melanin equipped. If it was the other way around, then,
they should fry.
Heck, them fools be on the moon with no oxygen. Like just send them, just get them away. But we're not going to get super into it. But I had to bring it up just because it was so in poor timing, poor taste. ... That like how sway.
I'm surprised that he would say something like that. And that was tone deaf. That's what that was. That was very tone deaf.
With a comment on his tweet with the African guy that does, he's famous for just looking at stuff like it's stupid. I don't know. I could, you know what I'm talking about. He's moving everywhere. That's the look that should have been put on there, because it's yeah. Now's not the time for that.
No,
at all.
But it's gonna go one or two ways. Either it's gonna work out for him or it's gonna hinder him. One or the other. But
this is Hogan moment. He ain't say the N-word, but imagine now you walking into a Raw event or a WWE event, and now the boys in the back like, for real?
Nobody wants to be around you.
Really, dude? That's what you're saying? So yeah. I don't know, Glenn. Kane's my man. Big Red Machine is a beast. Kane, I don't know that dude. I'm sorry, Glenn Jacobs. I don't know that dude. But speaking of controversial comments and stuff, I found this story pretty interesting, and then we'll get to the main event. We've all talked about, mostly me and you, as well as I guess James too, our affinity for watching The Dark Side of the Ring. We watched it quite a few times. Lord knows we had a big conversation about the Flair episode with the plane and everything else, and how they putting stuff out there. My question is, how in the world is Vice letting one of their number one series be put on hold so the WWE can be heavily involved in a docuseries that exposes the dark side of the business? That doesn't make sense to me. That's the equivalent, and even though this part is actually true, but that's the equivalent of the cigarette companies doing PSAs about how bad smoking is. Now, truthfully, they are the ones paying for this because it's a government thing. But in general concept, just think about that. We want you to smoke. We know it's addictive, but we're going to put a commercial out there telling you it's addictive, and this is what's going to happen, and all that stuff. So don't smoke. That is like, how did they muscle their way in to say, don't you add another episode until we thoroughly vet it to make sure it's airable on TV? Doesn't that make that a WWE documentary thing that we should be watching on Peacock?
Yeah, it does.
I don't. What's dark about it now?
Nothing, because everything's going to be controlled. It's like
was on a plane. Did he really mess with that woman?
No. That's like telling a story that you were there for, and you're telling a story. But I'm over your shoulder, like, nah, Don, don't tell it that way. You got to tell it like this. Take that part out.
Also to me.
It sounds like you got something to hide. Because if I'm telling you, no, Don, you can't do this. No, Don, you can't do that. Don't say this. Don't say that. That means I have so much control over you and how this story is told, so it does not make me look in a bad light.
Yep.
Here's a story for you.
A man named
if
Brady.
You were to tell a story of our time at ESPN Zone in DC.
Don't tell them stories.
And I would tell you, no, Don, you can't tell about when I was damn, I can't even remember her name. Pretty dark skinned girl that I used to talk to at the host stand when I was at the top of the steps. You can't tell about me going over to talk to her and not greeting people.
With no pants on. Did I say that out loud? Sorry, that was a regular show. WWE version was, yeah, man. He had a suit of armor on. We couldn't even see if he had clothes on. That's how protective he was. And he was so nice and like, hello, ma'am. How are you? Are you having a wonderful evening? I just want to let you know I came all the way up here because your shoe was untied. Dark side of the ring. Like, what the hell?
Yep.
That's what we're getting. Like, man, if you water it down anymore, you'll never get diabetes from this. We want the tea.
Exactly. And we want to taste all the diabetes.
They put milk in it. I'm going to have to try that one day. Do you ever try tea with milk in it?
No, I heard it's pretty good, though.
Really? One day we need to take a trip across the pond. don't know why, but just to go over there.
Well, we can always
Congratulations on the Queen and her 75th Jubilee. Why not?
I'm gonna leave that alone because I got questions for the Queen that we can't ask on this show.
No. We got to at least shout out long money. Universal healthcare too, but long money. When you that rich and you just hanging out, and she's like, "Look, I'm just old, but whatever. I don't really care." And,
I heard she wouldn't even let the Kardashians come. I'm like that. Now that would make me happy.
Ever gonna go away? Will I ever get like? You've been the queen so long, it's just gonna pass over me now. I don't even get the crown. That's when you know you've been there too long. Since she was 24, she was, God dang. Like, can you imagine? Just being a queen. If it was a king, we'd have that'd be a Mel Brooks situation right there. Long live the king. But yeah, man, very disappointing to find out that, Vice TV, which if I remember correctly, wasn't that started by Puffy? No, that's the other one. It's not Esquire.
No, Zeus. Zeus was started by Puffy. Zeus.
Huh?
Zeus.
Oh, okay. I thought who started Vice?
The only reason why I watch Vice is because of the WWE. I mean, Dark Side of the Ring.
Well, yeah, and then they got Mero and Bezus or something like that. What was the guy's name? The two black guys that have a show. They're pretty cool. I can't. I'm brain farting on names, but something to that effect. But they got a crazy role.
It used to be called Viceland.
Yeah.
It's creative director Spike Jonze. Because if I'm not mistaken, this one had the gang shows on it.
I could have swore Puffy was part of that startup, but I could be wrong. Who knows? Everybody starts something up and sell it. He's all happy with Dre. We all got beats just because of Dre. We know what the hell a beat was. Like, you're gonna sound like it's in the studio. For what? I'm not in the studio.
Guess what?
I'm gonna spend $300 for the beat solos.
Here's the thing, though. I've never had a pair of Beats headphones because
you don't know what you missed.
No. Have you ever had a pair of Skull Candy headphones?
Yeah, I have, but the Beats are better.
The Skull Candy ones that I've listened to Beats earbuds. I've had a pair of Skull Candy headphones like these, and it had a bass boost on it.
Oh, I know.
Soft leather cushion. Them headphones were $185.
I know, and they were collapsible. Yeah, the Skull Candy.
I miss my fucking headphones.
Great for the bass, but the problem is to be able to. And well, this is after I left ESPN Zone. I was DJing and stuff like that, so I tried the Skull Candies, but it was just too much bass, and it wasn't allowing me to hear the other levels as I was blending in the music and stuff. The Beats, on the other hand, I get it, because I could hear the different levels and be able to work things out that way. But now on a Call of Duty or something like that, you just want that thing banging. Oh yeah, Skull Candy will mess around, blow your eardrums out. But for the music side, me and some Beats and Virgin Megastore, that was the thing right there.
No. Give me some Skull Candy. Speaker box Love Below.
Make sure you say pause on that one. First of all,
I ain't pausing nothing. I'm securing my man. We're talking about headphones.
We don't want to be too issue here.
Look here. If you're gonna give me some Skull Candy, some brain, I don't give a fuck what you call it.
Far away, you over here having flashbacks. But you talk about speaker box and the Love Below.
Hey, don't please don't make me sing. I don't want to sing tonight. Let's go on. Let's move on.
So the last thing for the show tonight, because he over here having some fun, being free. He could go out there to Canton and check out the Football Hall of Fame. He could go ahead, pee with the bathroom door open. He ain't got to be yelling for nobody to come bring me something. He ain't gonna be like, I told you to go ahead and log into the game. He ain't got to say none of that. You just out there living a life, man. Balling.
Nah, you got me. You got me with the pee with the door open.
Hey man, trust me, I know. I'm gonna take it a step farther. I bet you didn't shower and just laid on the bed, bucket naked.
I do that at home.
On top of the comforter, like this, just spread out.
I do that at home. That's fine.
No. There's nobody there to interrupt you. It's just like, you know, like dust in the wind, just balls in the wind. That's all. That's all it is. Cojones just flapping around. Trust me, that was the first thing I did when I went to my first conference. I'm like, oh, I got a ring by myself. Okay then. Shoot, man.
But not only that, I got a room to myself.
Yep.
I have my own rental car.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just out here just parlaying.
And it knocks on the door. You want a date?
Shit. It's
Like,
quiet as hell in
everybody
here.
got time for that.
Like I think I'm the loudest person in this daggone hotel.
So I'm like, you got WrestleMania tickets? No, we ain't dating then. Don't get that mess twisted. So let me get off of you and you hanging out butt naked, peeing and pooping with the door open. Don't even spray, just no courtesy flush, nothing. Like it's just going to linger in. We're not going to talk about all that because I know that's what you've done. That's why I got that big old Cheshire Cat grin.
I ain't saying nothing. I'm not saying a word.
It's a rite of passage, man. You still got what, 6 days left?
5.
Yeah, shoot, you got a couple more days to pee with the toilet seat down. So the last thing of the show is a big question. And Jim Cornette talked about this on his podcast. See, the one time James not on, I'm talking about Jim Cornette's podcast. He went into a little bit of a dissertation or a rant about whether or not Tony Khan is really a good booker. Remember, we talked about MJF bringing it full circle at the beginning of the show and what Tony should do to capitalize on this whole situation. It could go Stone Cold-esque type of, you're taking this guy through to the next level and he's going to be the biggest thing on there. And it's, MJF as a heel, a true heel versus the man, and it's all about money. Or, it could be him just being a royal butt and not even giving them TV time, airtime, financial time through the websites and merchandise sales. Just gonna make him write out his contract, or he could just be like, I'll just see what happens and give him a microphone next week and see if MJF doesn't go as far as we know MJF can go. So with that one piece, Jim Cornette was like, he is a horrible booker, not doing a wonderful job because he doesn't know, his ass from a hole in the wall. I'm serious. That's pretty much to summarize it, what he was saying. That the guy just really, he's a fan, but he doesn't understand the business. Kind of like what MJF said. You should be on the other side of the rail, spectating, not in the back making calls. Notice the shift in AEW. When it started, when Cody, the Young Bucks, Kenny Omega, we'll say allegedly now, had some say-so and who was coming in, what was happening, even Jericho to a point as well. What was happening, who we were showing on matches. Again, we say it all the time. Joey Janela, Sonny Kiss, Abaddon, Swole, there's a lot of people that we were seeing on primetime TV, pre-Rampages, and Dark and all that stuff. They were on the show. Not in Dark, but we will never see them really, because when you get, it's like, what was that, Ring of Honor? Like, when the heck it come on? You're not really seeing it unless you search for it. So they got two shows that you really don't see. In truth, the average fan really doesn't see. They see, Dynamite and Rampage. Now that I said it back then, y'all disagree with me, but Tony Khan is becoming Vince McMahon. I'm the guy, I make the decision. I'm the one that's doing X, Y, and Z, because MJF didn't call out everybody. He just called out the one that makes the decisions, the only one that makes the decisions. You tell me, what's your thoughts? Is he, a competent booker? Is he gonna? 3 years is fine, but can he do 3 more years?
No.
Hell, can he do? Was it WWE up? Was it almost 50 years, if not 50 years in existence, as a whole, from WWF to WWF to WWE?
I think they're over 50 years.
Yeah, that's a long time that Vince has been, ideally in the captain seat at some point.
Here's my thing. Tony Khan needs to take the advice of a great man who I can't remember who it is. But they say when you run a business, you hire people that are smarter than you to work under you.
He did.
Then let them work. You can't have your fingers in everything if you know nothing about the business. Tony Khan is what was the dude that founded UWF?
Don't give me the line.
Oh God, I was just reading up on him the other day. Hold on. Wait a sec. I know I got it. Hold on. I'll tell you who it was. Because the thing is, that's what Tony Khan is without the without the without the Herb Abrams. That's who he is. He's Herb Abrams without the cocaine and the cowboy boots. That's who he is. You jumping into this game, you don't know nothing about it. You got people like Sonny Kiss. I haven't seen Nyla Rose an awful lot in the last couple of months.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe she's taking time off. Could be possible. I don't know.
She's been on the G4 network a couple times.
But you got people that you should be putting on an awful lot. You have a huge roster and you only use this much.
And here's the kicker. During your show, you show us the ticker of all the people that was on so-and-so defeated so-and-so. You still wrestle there? You know what I'm saying? I'm like, God dang, why can't I see you? Talent that should be there. One of Jim Cornette's points, and he agreed with MJF. Why are we WWE former talent heavy in the forefront? When you got a homegrown guy. Now, they didn't push MJF. He got over on his own. He was only introduced as Cody's friend. Remember, that's all he was. His friend MJF.
Mm-hmm.
And then it started branching out. And then MJF started finding his path. And as he became healed, and him and Cody had that falling out, and then he really broke through. His breakthrough moment where he broke episode where he had to give Cody those 10 lashes. That's where he started breaking through heavily. And then that turned it into, that, and MJF said it. I had a program with this person, killed it. Did a program with this person, killed it. Did a program with Jericho, killed it. Did a program with Wardlow, killed it. Homegrown, grew himself, got himself over, but yet he is not the number one of the two features. How many times are we going to see Mox? No disrespect to Mox. How many times? I mean, Jericho, you have to have Jericho on. We're just going to call that par for the course because, he's the GOAT. The only one that has reinvented himself so many times, it's amazing. He's on Undertaker level almost at this point. So we'll take Jericho out of it. But, Daniel Bryan, we take him out because he's running his lane, not too much. But, we see Moxley a lot. We see all these other, we see CM Punk even to an extent, who's doing, he put the belt on him and unfortunately got injured. And now we got to go in a different direction. The only person that they need that we haven't gotten yet is Kenny Omega. That's the only other person that can pull the emotional draw out of the crowd other than MJF. Why are you not utilizing it along with everybody else? Why are we focusing on WWE?
Because I don't know what I'm doing.
Ask, you want to take a comparison and learn from the past, since he likes to talk about history and stuff. Go put a phone call to Ric Flair and ask him how he felt during the Jim Herd era in WCW and NWA. Somebody that knew nothing about professional wrestling, but yet you're making calls that make absolutely no sense. Hell, we could take it a little bit further. Cornette calls him S-Stain, but when we had Ed Ferreira and Shitstain, running WCW. Even though they were writers and stuff like that from WWE, but, like, what are you doing now? We destroyed it. We've got Judy Bagwell in a shark cage. Like, what is happening? You're ruining the life of David Flair to where he doesn't want to wrestle anymore, ever. He doesn't want to be associated with wrestling at this point. Took Ric Flair away from his family so much so and stressed him out that, if he would have been a little bit more focused, we could still have Reed. There's a lot of different what ifs, that could be in there, but some thoughts. I mean, I'm not gonna say it's totally bad. Some stuff and some decisions Tony Khan has made that I agree with. Bringing some people in to really, solidify and get the viewers over there. Getting CM Punk to wrestle again. We can both agree that's huge. Period. So that's win number one. Having Jericho and letting him run and do what he wants to do, no issues there. I give it to you. Shoot. Infusing a Japanese element. Some of it's a little crazy. If you're not watching a lot of the, New Japan and stuff like that, you don't get the nuances from Emi Sakura and Riho and some of the ladies' names. When they're wrestling their style, sometimes it doesn't come over to the American audience that never watched that before. But I enjoy watching it. Even seeing Kenny Omega still do his setup for different moves, like when he's going to do, run into the ropes and come off of it and do whatever move he's going to do. You still see that New Japan setup. Those things are giving them the freedom to cut promos and stuff. I'm with. But then there's some stuff, like we talked about, where the hell are all these people at? Abaddon is Undertaker level Mystique. Damn it, she should be the champion going up against Britt. Can you imagine Abaddon crawling out, freaking out Britt Baker? That would have been perfect when Britt had the championship. Because Britt would have somebody to play off of, and it's almost like the Boogeyman coming out, or Papa Shango and stuff like that. And
Papa Shango.
But I don't know. Can they make 3 more years with the current trajectory? What is the question I'll ask you as we get ready to wrap it up? What can AEW do to set themselves up to make it 3 more years?
Quite a few things. Number one, learn from WCW's mistakes. Learn from UFW's mistakes. Learn from every company that has folded or been absorbed by WWE. Learn from their mistakes. Number two, learn from WWE's mistakes. Number three, build your own homegrown talent. Build them up, put them on a pedestal. When free agents come in, the free agents will be looked upon by the fans as outsiders. And let them, don't do what WWF does and WWE, where, you got a Don Rodriguez that came in from WWE and you automatically putting a belt on him within 2 months. Don't do that, because the boys in the back don't like that. I don't give a damn who you are. Number four, get you some writers that know this business and know how to put a wrestling crowd right here in the palm of their hand and hold them there for 60, 90 minutes, a week if need be. Put those storylines together that last. That's it, and that's all. This shit is self-explanatory.
Manage your salary cap a little better.
Oh, don't go. Don't go.
Maybe next week we'll get into the pay scale, because where MJF is in comparison to CM Punk, where Darby Allin is in comparison to CM Punk. The pay scale is a little interesting for the workhorses, that are really drawing the crowd in and making it happen and putting their bodies on the line, compared to the ones that are only coming out, cutting a promo, and then they have a rampage match that may last, 4 minutes, and they're getting well over $7 million a year. Something
Things that make you go,
Ask AJ Styles how he felt putting all that work in TNA. Booker T talked about this as he was commenting on the MJF thing and how he understood if it is a shoot. How he walked in with a super contract and he's like, but what about this guy AJ? You see what this dude is doing in Ultimate X and all this other stuff? And y'all paying him pennies? Backbone of the company. Samoa Joe, backbone of the company. But they brought in Hogan, Bischoff, Scott Steiner, and the list goes on.
the main event mafia.
The Dudleys, all those people. Huge checks. But the Kazarians, like I said, the AJ Styles, the Christopher Daniels, the Chris Sabins, the Lokis. Like, how do you not take this dude is coming out looking like the daggone transporter, putting in work, and he's not a champion any sooner. Shoot, even oh gosh, with the raspy voice, Eric, he's with Sanity. I want to say Eric Edwards, but it's not that. It's Eric something. But he was a staple and impact at TNA, but they weren't getting those big checks. Same mistake that Tony Khan is running down in the same position. And he's a longer contract, so he signed him for a lot of money, longer contract. So now you're vested. What do you do? CM Punk's injury. He's on limited shelf life, but you still got him. Only one that's smartly doing work is Sting. Yeah, I'll do that bump. Other than that, I'm gonna do my woos. You know what I'm saying? Beat my chest. Maybe hold the bat up. Good. Let Darby go put in the work. I've done my job. Been there, done that. And I'm happy with that. Just to see Sting come out.
And you know what? That's another thing. You can't keep calling back to the past to carry the company forward. You got to start infusing some of this young talent, especially your women's division. If one thing that WWE has taught everybody, if you have a strong women's division, when your men's division is kind of weak because of vacations and injuries, you can do some damage in the ratings. Remember when the women were carrying Raw, they were carrying SmackDown. NXT was carrying itself because it had so much talent. But what made Raw and SmackDown so fun to watch? The women's division. The women were closing out the show, and that block of time, that second hour of the third hour of Raw and the second hour of SmackDown were higher rated than what they are now because the women were carrying everything. Build those women up to carry you. So when you don't have a storyline for the men, get your women's only pay-per-view because Evolution was a one-off hit and we haven't got it since. Somebody needs to pick up that mantle and run.
That's where Tony Khan needs to spend the money. If you're going to spend some money, bring more women in. Or you've already got them technically. Put them on the main show.
Put them on the main show. You have Athena. Hell, if I really wanted to, I would call Nia Jax. I'd be like, look, we'll figure out something else for you to do if you want to wrestle. If you want a Goldberg contract or a Brock Lesnar contract, fine. But you need a big, mean woman.
That's why I was pumped when Britt Baker came out with Awesome Kong. Kong didn't have to do nothing.
Nope.
It's just the fact that y'all brought out Awesome Kong. That was awesome, pun intended.
And the thing is, she came out, she did her thing, and then she rode off into the sunset. They didn't ride her into the ground where you're just forcing her down our throat. But you're not even forcing Sting down our throat. You're not forcing the Hardys down our throat, which is great. You're doing good with that. Don't force the older wrestlers down our throat to relive the glory days. Kind of sort of use them as enhancement to push the younger generation.
Mm-hmm. That's why I don't understand, no disrespect to the Hardys, but why they didn't put over the Young Bucks.
Not yet.
Tony Khan's decision.
Not yet.
This is the time. There's nothing wrong with the Hardys don't lose anything.
Well,
by getting beat by the Bucks, especially how it all was set up with the interference and all that. You could have had that.
we can have a Young Bucks versus Undisputed Era almost now. So
yeah. So that's a whole other hot mess. Then we still got FTR out there, doing that thing. But I also understand why Ray Phoenix and Penta haven't got their championship back. But or Pac and Penta. I mean, whatever. That's just again. That's why I liked it better when Tony could have been the final say, but he was listening to the buffers and the people that were saying this is actually a smarter play. Period. You may be scripting your show 4 or 5, weeks out, all that stuff, but let's put these things in play. Because when something goes wrong, Punk's injured, now we got to scramble.
Exactly.
And now we having eliminated tournaments and which interim champion for that. You got to wrestle Mox, and then now you got somebody in New Japan trying to win the belt over there to be interim champion. And why I don't even understand. I know Forbidden Door is coming up, but that makes no sense to have 2 interim champions going against each other when technically there should only be 1 interim champion in America.
Let me say this.
Respect to New Japan, but why are we having 2 people wrestle that have no vested interest in your championship to become champion and come over here to wrestle the people that have a vested interest when we know the people over here are going to win the belt?
But let me say this.
No brainer.
Let me say this.
Wrap it up.
There are levels. If you have, I got the Nubian Sumo versus the People's Choice on the top level. I got to have storylines under there. So when this storyline runs its course, the next one comes up, the next one comes up, the next one comes up. And I got something else for Nubian Sumo and People's Choice that may be 2 different things. But if it's a long-standing feud, then I can go away from it and come back to it. Go away from it, come back to it. Because it's blood there. It's bad blood there. And these guys work so well together. Come on.
Yeah, I could understand if he understood the art of long-term storytelling like the old days, the slow build. I'm with that. But I agree with what you were saying, because as that first main program ends, that's this pay-per-view. When the next one is coming to the boiling point, that's your next pay-per-view's main event. And then vice versa. It just keeps going up and up. And then you could refresh it because you got the newer talent that are on the other shows wrestling somebody else. So it's not the same match back to back. They're not wrestling each other just like they wrestled last week. And then they talked about this. And then they're going WWE where we know it's a tag match. But this week, Jey Uso is going to face Riddle. And then next week, Randy Orton is going to face Jimmy Uso. And then the week after, they're going to wrestle each other for the championship. But it was disqualification. So, no, we're just going to move it to the pay-per-view. That's WWE issue 101. That's not where we need to be. When you have enough talent to be able to slide somebody else in to give a fresh storyline, a fresh beef, and then it's more entertaining. And everybody gets their piece of the pie. Used to be that way before Rampage. Used to be that way before the other 2 shows that we really don't see unless you look for it. So I just need to go back. 3 years in, go back to year 1. That'll get you 3 more. I think that's my piece on that.
Well, that's the People's Choice, Don Rodriguez. I'm the big guy, KG. The Nubian Sumo was on special assignment tonight. Hopefully we'll get back with him next week. Because I'm sure some stories that he could tell, but I'm going to look over his shoulder and be like, nope, you can't tell that part. You can't tell that part. Insert this. Because I'm going to run everything that's on this show from now on. I'm going to run all the stories and make myself look good because that's what WWE is doing. So that's what I'm going to do.
Nightlight of the Ring. That's what it's going to be called. Nightlight of the Ring.
Nightlight of the Ring. I like that. Look, you better trademark that now because it's coming.
Yeah, it'll be on Peacock. Don't worry.
Oh, shoot. It'll be edited out and all that. But until next time, folks, have a good night. Thank you for riding on the mothership. I'll be home next week, but I got more shows to do before I come home. A lot of sideline junkie business to take care of. So,
Yep.
Until next time,
Whatever.
diversify your bonds.
Konnichiwa, bitches.